happening, people? Happy match day. Is it a happy match day? I don't know, but big up to everyone locked in. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. It's Thursday. It's a match day off the back of an exciting game, a few games of Champions League football, and now I have to be punished and watch Manchester United versus Lyon in the Europa League. We're going to talk about that. So like I said, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. It seems like a lot has happened in the last 24 hours in the world of Manchester United. I've seen Matic clap back at Onana clap back at Matic. I mean, you know, let you do your talking on the pitch. Do your talking on the pitch. But we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to share my thoughts and my opinion on it because I've seen I've seen people, United fans, siding with Matic. Okay, interesting. But we have a lot of transfer stuff to talk about as well. Reportedly, Matheus Cunha's agent has travelled to Manchester to have talks with Manchester United. Manchester United reportedly open to hearing offers for Hojlund, and Serie A is a destination for him, and Juventus also interested in him. Man United interested in quite a few players. It seems like the word I keep repeating is interested. We'll see if anything of that becomes tangible, if any of that comes to fruition. But there seems to be a lot of names flying around in different positions. But I do think the general consensus is that Manchester United needs some forwards, because I've seen some talk about Mbuemo, I've seen some talks about Delap, seen some talks about Victor Osimhen, of course. And now that we're hearing that Juve potentially could want Rasmus Hojlund, then that could open up the door maybe for Manchester United to sign more than one striker. So we're going to talk about all of that. Plus, we are going to talk about the Lyon game that's happening in less than 4 hours time. So we're going to, I don't want to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. So be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe as well. Get involved in the chat. I want to hear all of you lot's thoughts. If you are new here, big up Ridwan in the chat, big up Faith, big up Riri as well, a channel legend. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing channel. I'm trying to be consistent on here, guys. This month, at least one stream every single day at the least, and then a video at least every other day, including, you know, the match reactions that you get after the Premier League, after La Liga that I've been doing, after Champions League, etc., etc. I'm going to try and be consistent with that. Be sure to follow me on all platforms, socials there, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. What else? Yeah, that's it. That's the 3 main socials that I use. So make sure you guys follow me on those platforms there. I'll be posting in and around there. So what should we start with, guys? I'm gonna let you lot pick. And by the way, guys, I got a video dropping tomorrow on the channel, so make sure you guys check that out. Turn on your post notifications, and obviously after the game tonight, we will have match reaction dropping immediately after that. You know what, guys? Just quickly before we actually get into like new stuff, I realized I enjoy doing match reactions after a game rather than a stream. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I do prefer to do match reactions because it's quick, it's concise. You know, I can do it straight after the game. It takes me less than 2 minutes to edit because I just, you know, I've changed. If you guys watch my match reactions for Man United, you realize that I changed it from 5 things we learned to more just me talking for like 10 minutes because it's easier to edit. I can get it out quicker, etc. So if you lot are wondering why I don't do a live stream after the game, that's literally the reason why. Not that any of you lot care. I didn't do a video yesterday. Well, actually, I was okay. So yesterday I was presenting an event for the PGMOL and Manchester United Foundation for their Academy Girls team. So I was doing like the hosting stuff. So that was a couple of hours. So then after I finished that job, if you want to call it that, I was on my way back home on the train. But I realized on the train, basically, I had my camera, I had my mic, I had everything, guys, yeah? It was in my bag. And the Matic Onana thing happened, and I was tweeting about it. So I wanted to record a video straight away, guys. I'm not even joking. I brought out my phone. I brought out my iPad. I made my thumbnail, everything. And then I set my camera up. I put my mic on, yeah? I checked the lighting. I'm making sure I'm looking good because I'm like, okay, I can record a reaction video 10 minutes long and upload it immediately, perfectly. I realized I was sitting on the quiet section, the quiet zone on the train, the quiet carriage. If you know Avanti West Coast trains, guys, there's a carriage that's the quiet zone. You're not allowed to talk, yeah? People will look at you like this if you start talking. I pressed beep on my camera. Everybody looked at me like this. I said, oh shit, I forgot that I was sitting in the quiet section. I had to turn it off. I had to turn my camera off, took my mic off. I said, all right, I'll just talk about the Onana and the Matic thing tomorrow on the Daily Dose of Minutes. So if you're wondering, I know no one asked, but I thought I should share it. If you're wondering why I didn't do a video yesterday and why I didn't do a live stream, it was because of that. Mina is a presenter now, big moves. I don't know if I call it presenting. Yeah, I've been a presenter for a long time. I'm just, you know what's crazy, guys, is that presenting for me is like doing those kind of stuff, even though I'm in front of a bunch of teenage kids. That is more nerve-wracking when you've got a live audience in front of you than when I go on Sky Sports and I'm on television. Because when I'm on television, right, it's just the cameras and all of that. I can't see who's watching. I don't know who's watching at home. So it's not really that nerve-wracking until the producers tell you how many people were tuned in like across the country watching. That's a different thing. But when you're presenting in front of a live crowd, a live audience, and there's literally people there, like you could like touch their head like that if you wanted to. It's very nerve-wracking. It's very, very nerve-wracking. Not you who always got kicked off the train because of Onana, yeah. You should have moved to the unreserved carriage. You know what it is? I booked the quiet zone. I'm the idiot. I like the quiet zone because, again, I don't like loud noises on trains. The train already is loud enough. So now I don't want to. And it's so funny because I'm on the phone yesterday in the quiet zone and I was literally whispering like this and people kept looking at me and I was talking to my mum. And my mum kept saying to me, why are you talking so quietly? Talk louder. I'm like, I can't. Hoya, I can't. I'm on the train. And my mom's like, why are you whispering? I'm like, I'm on the train. She goes, so why are you whispering? I said, I'm in the quiet zone. I'm not allowed to talk here. She's like, what part of the train are you not allowed to talk on? Big up to Uthman, man. Salam, Uthman. I hope you're doing well. All right, cool. Let's get into football talk. Enough about my adventures that I was up to yesterday. Let's talk some football. Let's actually start with this. This is actually the perfect kind of segue. Is this Onana stuff? I understand Avanti Quiet Coach is the one. Trust me, it's the best. Especially if you want to just get work done, if you want to just read, if you want to sleep. Undisturbed. Big up to Manchester Kushner in the chat. Salam, Minna. Saw you the other week at Ballers League. Why don't you say hi? And wa alaikum salam. Why don't you say hi if you saw me? Please, guys, if you ever see me in public, say hi to me, please. And if you are subscribed to the channel and you're a regular in the chat, let me know what your YouTube name is. Big up to OJ in the chat as well. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in. Let's get onto this. Let's go onto this because the discourse that I've seen surrounding this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Firstly, I would say always, right? Always, I will say, before you go off of what has been aggregated online, watch the full clip because the way people made it seem, how Matic phrased his answer, they made it seem like it was a personal hit. Firstly, that journalist that asked that question, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. Jose Mourinho has rubbed off on Nemanja Matic because I'm not going to lie, Nemanja Matic has always perceived this image of professional, calm, collected, nice. That's always been the vibe. Yeah? But please watch. I had to watch the full video when I first saw the quote because I said there's no way he just said it unprovoked. And it's like the way that he said it. Because he says a question. He answers the question first, kind of repeats the question back afterwards. Now, again, I think blown out of context. Oh, I thought I was presenting. There we go. Onana said was that he thinks that Manchester United is much better than Lyon. That's it. People are acting like he hung Lyon players on a wall and shot them. Like people are acting like he said something wild. Like he said he was asked about Lyon, and he started it by saying in terms of who he thinks the better two is. Of course, he's going to say Manchester United. Absolutely, of course, he plays for Manchester United. Now, Matic for me has every right to clap back. Saying and for me, I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's the way, it's the wording. It's the wording for me that kind of like, oh, that felt like a bullet to the heart. He said, if you're one of the worst goalkeepers in Manchester United history, then you need to take care of what you are talking about. He then went on to say, if David De Gea, Peter Schmeichel, Van der Sar said that, I would question myself. But if you are statistically, so he went from saying if you are the worst to now saying if you are statistically, he's basically saying metrics don't lie, data don't lie, bro, you suck. If you are statistically one of the worst goalkeepers in Manchester United's modern history, he needs to show that before he says this. You know, that's what he's saying. And if we're looking statistically, yeah, Onana has conceded more goals per game than all of the goalkeepers that he has come before. Now, look at the appearances as well. You know what's crazy, guys? You know what's crazy is that even with Barthez, for example, Onana could get to 92 appearances, same number of appearances as Barthez, and I still think he'd have a much worse percentage. Goals conceded per game, statistically, he is the worst, 1.4. After him is David De Gea, but you have to keep in mind that David De Gea played over 400 games for Manchester United. You're telling me that from a data perspective, you have a worse record than someone who has played nearly 7-8 times more games than you. My maths might be off, but you guys get what I'm saying. Clean sheets percentage, you are still the worst. And I know you lot are probably thinking, how's Minna saying all of this? And then in 2 seconds, she's going to defend Onana. However, if you look at it on the flip side, we're talking about Manchester United, and, you know, that's what Matic decided to clap with. But if you're looking at the league this season, Onana is up there with one of the best shot stoppers. He faced the most number of shots in the league. Of course, I can name so many games that I remember him throwing the ball into the back of the net, literally and figuratively. So that doesn't help. But you're looking at, I don't like to look at expected goals conceded, etc., etc. If I'm just looking at shots faced and his ability to save it, he's been up there this season. Hasn't been the best. I mean, you know how funny it is, guys, is that statistically, these are the best goalkeepers in the league. But if you were to ask me who is the best goalkeeper in the league this season, I'm saying Sells from Nottingham Forest. And he's not, I don't even think he's on this list. Look, there you go. He's not even on this list. I think Sells has been the best goalkeeper. And that's why I always say, guys, don't go off of solely data, like stats and data metrics, especially these kind of data metrics that have been developed in the last 10, 20 years. Don't solely base your opinion off it. Because if you watch football, if you watch the Premier League, you will argue that Sells has been one of the best goalkeepers this season in the league. And if we're saying, oh, he's the best shot stopper, being a good shot stopper doesn't mean you're the best goalkeeper in the league or you're like up there in terms of being one of the best. It just means you're good at stopping shots. David De Gea was a good shot stopper. David De Gea was a great shot stopper. But there was other deficiencies that he had that led to Manchester United eventually parting ways with him. How have we faced more shots than Wolves? That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? Wolves. Look at this. Leicester are being relegated. I mean, it doesn't help the fact how they've conceded a lot of goals. That's why they're getting relegated. But we've conceded more shots or faced more shots than teams that are in relegation scraps. I mean, Bournemouth are quite good defensively. I'm not surprised, by the way, can I just say on the topic of Sells, I'm not surprised that he's not on here. And shout out to The Athletic for this. I'm not surprised that he's not on here just because of how good Nottingham Forest are defensively. So, you know, before those shots even get to him, it's getting blocked by Murillo or Milinkovic, or you know, so I get that. But if you're comparing, you know, goalkeepers, and I saw this, it was quite interesting. Like I said, shout out to The Athletic for this, guys. It's just the average place in terms of the defensive actions outside of the penalty area for David De Gea and Onana. And obviously it's saying Onana is a more aggressive sweeper keeper than David De Gea was. And you just see it here. This is his box. You can see this guy is going on an adventure. He likes to go on an adventure. I'm not kidding, yeah? I'm going to get to my point about the whole Matic and Onana thing. But he likes to go on an adventure, areas that David De Gea since 2018-19 season didn't even try to go and explore. But we knew that, you know, David De Gea wasn't comfortable with that. It wasn't, you know, his strongest suit. But just quickly on this Onana and Matic thing. Onana clapping back, I respect it. I think, guys, that I'm not gonna lie, by the way, guys. I love when I see this stuff in basketball, yeah. But I would love this if this happened outside of my club. I'm just scared that this could backfire. That is the only thing that scares me a little bit. If you're wondering what Onana said in terms of word for word, damn, I thought I had it somewhere here, but it doesn't look like I got it. There you go. Tweeting on his non-verified Twitter account, but it is his Twitter account. He said, "I would never be disrespectful to another club. We know that tomorrow will be a difficult game against a strong opponent. We focus on preparing for a performance to make our fans proud." That's the ChatGPT part of his comment. The next part is the African part of him. And when I say African, I mean ruthless. I mean no F's given. You clap at me, I'm gonna clap back. That's a bit of a tongue twister. You clap at me, I'm gonna clap back. He got the first part out of ChatGPT. It said, "ChatGPT, please write a nice positive message for me that shows how I am enthusiastic for my club, but I didn't mean to disrespect Lyon." And this is the response he got. Then he said, "F it. The rest of this is coming from my brain." He said, "At least I've lifted trophies with the greatest club in the world. Some can't say the same." Followed by a picture with him with his FA Cup trophy, kissing the FA Cup trophy, by the way, in his debut season for Manchester United. I personally don't see nothing wrong with what either of them have said. I think Matic is entitled to his opinion. Is he wrong? No, he's not, because he's using stats to back up his point that you are statistically the worst goalkeeper in history. Is Onana wrong that some people haven't lifted trophies with Manchester United? No. Neither of them are wrong. And I am just amazed, honestly amazed. I've seen people saying, Man United fans, by the way, saying that they want Onana to have a stinker tomorrow to kind of humiliating him for talking to a two-time Premier League champion. How could you want your player to have a crap performance? And essentially, I'm seeing people saying he's going to throw it in the back of the net. Oh, I want him to, get for Matic to score a screamer against him. As a Man United fan, you can disagree with the way that Onana has gone about this. 100% you can disagree. But the fact that you want him to have a bad performance, I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked. I will back Onana going into this game, not because I want him to, show people that he's a great goalkeeper. No, because if he has a bad performance, that is a problem for Manchester United. That's it. Do I have to agree with what he said? No, I don't have to. Just because I want him to have a good performance does not mean I agree with what he said. But with saying that, I don't agree with what he said, but I like to see this stuff. Football has become so robotic. Players have become so robotic. PR trained, media trained. I love this. Talk shit to each other. Players should talk shit to each other. The way that they do in the NBA, I enjoy it. Kevin Durant, guys, will get cussed by a fan after a game. And then before a game, he'll get cussed by a fan. He'll go and drop 40 points, 45 points. Then he will join Twitter spaces after the game and trash talk the fans. NBA players will go on podcasts and talk shit about other players, that they're going to face up against the league, against each other in the league. Players trash talk each other in the NBA, by the way, on the court. I'll see like Kobe Bryant. I remember, who is it? What's that guy called that used to date that singer? Iman Shumpert. If you lot know basketball, Iman Shumpert used to play for the Knicks. He used to play for a lot of teams, but he used to play for the Knicks. And when the Lakers were playing him, he said Kobe Bryant shit talked him, trash talked him, whatever you want to call it, one day on the court. Where after the third quarter, Iman Shumpert was guarding Kobe Bryant, and then they came out for fourth quarter, and Kobe just said to him, "Good game." And then Iman Shumpert was like, "Bro, what are you talking about? The game's still not over. We still got 12 minutes to go. We still got a quarter to go." And that was Kobe's way of saying to him, "That's it. You can't guard me for the rest of..." And then he cooked him that quarter. He cooked him. Now, I'm not saying Onana is of Kobe Bryant level, but I'm saying that I like to see footballers trash talk each other. However, on the flip side, I'm saying that, it could backfire. It could totally backfire. We need Dean Huijsen now. We're not even going for him. Ornstein just mentioned him. I didn't know that. I know he's dying to go to Real Madrid. Big up Madison says dead ass. I know Onana is not the guy, but that's our guy for now, and he should talk his shit. I'm from New Jersey, and this is usual. Kobe was saying wild shit in people's ears. Was it Kobe was learning languages to talk shit people that don't speak English? Do you know how funny that is? Cyril says, Minna from 15th, we need to be humble. We need to be humble. You're right. We're in no position to talk. But you're telling me that when I throw an egg at someone, yeah, Onana threw an egg, yeah, Matic fired a missile at him. You're telling me I can't defend myself just because, I maybe don't have the components to do so. I don't have the equipment. He shot me with a missile. Okay, cool. I'm going to go to my neighbor who might know someone that's got a tractor, and I'm going to run you over with the tractor. I shouldn't, because I started the beef with an egg and I couldn't even afford that egg. I was broke. You see, it's a very stupid logic that I'm using, but I hope my point still stands. Just because United are 15th, I'm sorry, doesn't mean that Onana shouldn't say this. Should he say it? Maybe not. Was he right to say it? Maybe not. But should us as United fans pile on Onana in the hopes that he basically has a stink of a game to prove Matic wrong? Onana never lied. Matic never won anything with Manchester United. And I was going to say, I might say something that might be blasphemous, yeah? Matic was only really starting games consistently for United because Jose Mourinho hated flipping Fred and them guys. And Pogba, he hated Pogba. Matic got through on a consistent level. I mean, shout out to Matic. I'll never forget your goal against Crystal Palace. Yeah, I'll never forget that. But come on. Come on. I'm going to stop saying eggs. That is very triggering word for Americans right now. How much you Americans are paying for eggs right now? So the tariff stuff, crazy. It's a madness right now. It's actually a madness right now. Oh man, I shouldn't. I shouldn't talk about it. I think the problem is who claps back. We don't need Onana putting pressure onto himself because he doesn't do well under pressure. All we want is for him to do his job first. You know what? Onana came into the season. I don't know if you guys remember. Onana came into the season basically saying he's going to have the best season for Manchester United. Like he came in touting himself a little bit, propping himself a bit up. And I remember at the time people saying he shouldn't do that. Be humble. You got us knocked out of the Champions League last season. His first couple of months at United this season was actually pretty good. Like, especially, I know the bar is on the ground. The bar ain't even on the ground, sorry. It's in hell at this point. But before Erik ten Hag got sacked, he was predominantly why Man United were at least walking away with a point most games. I do agree. What? $15 for 12 eggs? You're better off just robbing someone's chicken in their garden and growing your own. I do not condone theft. I don't condone theft. I don't even encourage it. Ignore what I just said, guys. That wasn't me talking. It was my evil twin. But if I was paying $15 for 12 eggs, those eggs, when I crack it, better be made of gold. It better be made of gold. I feel sorry for you guys. Prayers up for the Americans. People are hatching their own eggs. It's that peak. Look up Trader Joe's hatching eggs. I remember when one of my neighbors used to have a chicken, yeah? But I never tried eggs from the chicken because I don't trust that. I grew up in the ghetto, bro. If you live in the ghetto and you got a chicken in your garden, I ain't eating eggs from that chicken. I'm not eating it. I gotta go to like some organic farm 2 hours away, where they ain't even got traffic lights and you're driving on motorway roads on like little narrow roads doing 60 miles per hour. That's where I'm getting my eggs from. Where I go to a little town where there's just farms and there's no one that looks like me. That's if you want organic, fresh farms, that's where I'm getting it from. That's where I'm getting it from. I saw a video where the chicken was laying eggs on the farm. Yo, prayers up for my American people right now. We might have to start a GoFundMe page for like Riri and them. Riri won't be able to eat eggs. I would love your thoughts on Shirky. I'm going to speak about him. He's one of the topics on the stream today. Anyways, I feel like I spent too much time on Onana. Just quickly before we actually move on to the next topic. Onana, was he right? Was he wrong? Did it just say right, wrong? Because I'm very indifferent about I can't tell you whether you are right or wrong for saying something. The only thing I can say is that I'm disappointed that a lot of fans want him to do bad just because they don't like him. And just because, did Matic tell the truth? Yes, statistically, Onana is the worst Manchester United goalkeeper. Did Onana tell the truth? Yes. He lifted trophies with the greatest club. The fact that he's complimenting United saying greatest club, some can't say the same. He's not lying. He's not lying. All right, TV Thrill is on my wave saying indifferent. I hear it. Couple of you lot saying, a lot of you lot saying right, by the way. OJ saying on the fence. Cyril saying wrong. Meanwhile, MUFC 14 saying 30 eggs for $4 in KSA. Yo, I mean, when I went to Saudi, and this stream, guys, we're clearly a little bit over the place. So let's just touch on this egg stuff right now. Because I think eggs in London or in the UK, I think eggs is like £2 for like a pack of what? How much? Let me go on Google right now. Asda eggs 12 pack. Let's see how much a 12 pack. £2.70 for medium free range. But I eat organic. I buy organic eggs, so it's on the more pricier side. It's like £4. M&S is £5. We don't shop in M&S. £2, £3. That's not bad. You're telling me you're spending $15. I can't get over that, guys. $15 on eggs. Damn, tea is getting pricey. I know. I had a matcha today and I spent £4 on it. And I got a new obsession with matcha. So I need to relax because every time I get a new obsession, guys, I obsess over it for like months and then I stop. Like, do you lot remember my sushi obsession? I was so obsessed with sushi that I made an emoji on my channel for sushi. So I gotta relax. You're giving me Ghana vibe. We like eggs on everything. I don't really like eggs. That's the funny thing is I don't really eat eggs. Like I don't maybe if I have scrambled eggs in my breakfast, maybe if I have an egg omelette if I feel like it, but I'm not really an egg person because when I was younger, guys, when I was like early teens, my mum used to make me eat 3 boiled eggs every morning. I hated it. It was torture. I couldn't leave the house and go to school if I didn't eat 3 boiled eggs because she said that it was good for you. Sometimes I used to take it in my backpack, like in a little like I used to take it in a backpack in a little like plastic bag, and then I would eat it in form class in the morning and make the room stink of egg on purpose. I do it on purpose. I could have had it at home because I like to eat it with ketchup, but I said no, I'm gonna eat it raw, in terms of just boiled, no sauce, no salt, no pepper, no nothing, just so I can stink up the form class. A form class, by the way, guys, if you're not from the UK, it's like registration before school starts. Before your lesson starts, you'd go and sign in, etc., etc. I love a boiled egg. I don't know how people actually like eating boiled eggs. Anyways, enough about that. Let's talk football, guys. Let's actually talk football. Fabrizio Romano earlier this morning, or earlier in the afternoon, should I say, reporting that Serie A clubs are monitoring Rasmus Hojlund's situation ahead of the summer transfer window. If Manchester United decided to sell Hojlund to, bring in a new striker in the summer, Italian clubs would be ready to start concrete contacts. Followed up by that later in the afternoon, Matteo Moretta, who is, I think, a decent source for Italian news, reporting that Juventus are very interested in signing Rasmus Hojlund. Exploration talks have taken place to understand if a potential move this summer is feasible. Now, I think a big part of this is dependent, in my opinion, or maybe like a big part of Man United's transfer window and summer targets is maybe dependent on this particular move and this particular player. If he goes back to Serie A, no problem. If it's a loan or a sale, I would prefer a loan. Personally, I would prefer a loan. No, sorry, stuff like what the hell? I just lied. I would prefer a sale, not a loan. I would prefer a sale, but I wouldn't turn my noses up at the prospect of a loan if he can go out and get decent playing time. I still am not convinced by Rasmus Hojlund being Manchester United's starting striker. Not today, not next year, not 3 years from now. I'm not convinced about it. And that's why my preference is a permanent sale, because that can also allow Manchester United to maybe sign a Delap and Osimhen or a Gyökeres, etc. It will free up a lot more financial movement in the summer transfer window. Realistically, how much is Manchester United going to get for Rasmus Hojlund? They're not getting 70 million. They're not given cent. And I hate the fact that, by the way, when we talk about transfer fees as fans, we've become so programmed now to talk about amortization, to talk about, you know, accounting and PSR and FFP, etc. We're looking at, you know, valuing a player based on what is their net book value at the moment. And I hate that, because net book value, in my opinion, doesn't always reflect, or it does not reflect what the player is worth. I think Manchester United, in terms of a permanent sale, they could get about 30 million for him. That maybe. But that's also Manchester United's fault, in my opinion, for overspending on him. And it's crazy to think that I'm basically saying Rasmus Hojlund is at the same price tag this summer as Liam Delap. Because Liam Delap has a 30 million release clause if they get relegated, which they are. Would you say Dalot improved after the loan to Milan? I think he did. But I also think Dalot was a decent player. I remember Jose Mourinho talking about him. Saying that maybe it was Portuguese tax. But he was saying that, you know, Dalot was a very good player when he was at Porto and that he had a high ceiling. Now, I know people close to Dalot, and, you know, I might have my reservations about him this season in terms of his inability to play right wing back. And, you know, that's no secret because that's not his strong suit. But apparently one thing I rate about him, from what I've been told, is that Dalot does not mess about when it comes to any form of being in the wrong mindset during a football season. And what I mean by that, he takes his recovery serious. You know, apparently he's got these machines in his yard that, like, is for maximum recovery, UV lights, you name it, all of this stuff. He does not F about. He does not play PlayStation. He does not really watch television. He's all about rest and recovery after a game. He's very locked in. Very, very locked in, apparently. The only thing that he does outside of football is spend time with his family and friends. That's it. And even that is not a lot. It's, you know, if he's not training, you know, then he's doing individual training. He's at the gym. He's at home recovering. You know, he's sitting in a sleeper thing that helps you breathe and all this stuff. I was like, what? I said, okay, fair enough. I might not rate him as a wing back because he's not naturally a wing back, but he's clearly dedicated and committed to the cause. And apparently this came from, obviously, Ronaldo's influence. Cristiano Ronaldo had a big, big influence on him. We got shafted in this deal. How we paid that much for him is crazy. SEG. That's all I have to say. SEG and ETH and ABC. No, I'm joking. But seriously, SEG, Eric Ten Hag, involved with each other, wanted the guy. The rest is history. Big up to Sully with the super chat, who says, you can't be this arrogant. If you're crap, get rid. I hope that's not in reference to me. And I hope that's in reference to Onana, which I think it is. Big up to Sully with the super chat. Be sure to hit the like button as well if you've just come through. You guys know the rules, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, and then you get involved in the conversations. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in other ways, in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love with, for example, what Sully just did as well. We still got a lot to talk about, of course. We got the Lyon game, so we're going to talk about that. We still got a few other transfers as well to talk about as well. Later tonight. I just like a glitch for a second, guys. I started buffering. Later tonight, of course, match reaction will be out immediately after the game. And then tomorrow, got a video coming out about Manchester United striker targets, kind of ranking them to see which ones that Manchester United is most likely to sign. Not about who I think they should sign, but who I think they are most likely to sign. So make sure you lot turn on your post notifications. So when I go live, you guys will be notified. This is a horrible. Why did I pick this picture? I need to get guys, bear with me 1 second because I don't know what made me pick this picture. That's a horrible picture, bro. Okay, this is a much better picture. Okay, this picture is way better. That is actually a very scary picture. I was in a rush. I think maybe that's why I picked it. Why does he always look like he's crying? That looks like the cry feel. He always looks like he's crying. Cunha's face when he sees X for $12. Let's talk Matheus Cunha. Again, we're going to take this with a pinch of salt because of the sauce. Ben Jacobs, you know, Ben Jacobs, whatever his name is, Ben Jacobs or Jacobs Ben. Matheus Cunha's agent reportedly has flown to England and has already held talks with Manchester United's officials for a possible deal. Cunha is open to a move to Old Trafford, with or without European football. I've seen people, and this is interesting to hear, by the way, because I think the same thing is being reported about Liam Delap. It could also just be to put pressure on other teams. Matheus Cunha, Man United is not going to be the only team in for him, right? And it maybe could put pressure on other teams who are potentially in European football. These kind of stories might put pressure on them to get the ball rolling and kind of seal a deal more quicker. 60, I think, million is the price tag. I think he's got a release clause, which is about £60 million. And he will leave regardless. I think he will leave Wolves regardless. Now, Prem proven, anybody that looks at Cunha and says, nah, not a good signing, give your head a wobble just right now so I can kick you out of the chat. Because I think he raises Man United's ceiling across different factors of the starting 11. I think physical level, he does it. Ball carrying or ability on the ball and ball carrying just in general, he does it. Goal striking, he does it. Goal creation or chance creation for himself, he does it. He would be an upgrade on everything that Manchester. There's not one player, I think, Man United's starting 11 right now, or the starting 11 that will start tonight in the front line. I'm talking Garnacho, I'm talking Hojlund, I'm talking Xerxes. There's no player that he's not better than. He's better than all three of them. However, what worries me is the Ineos transfer strategy or the Ineos transfer plan. I don't know if 60 million for a player like Matheus Cunha is a price they will want to pay. Think back to the Lenny Yoro deal. I think because Lenny Yoro was 19 and had his best years, or hadn't even touched hadn't even scratched the surface of his potential, that was a risk that was worth taking. However, is it likely that they will look to spend 60 million on a player that they might have for 3, 4, 5 years rather than 10 years with maybe not much of a sell-on factor in the future? Because I think if you're looking at Lenny Yoro and you're looking at, unfortunately, I don't want to say it, but Kobbie Mainoo, these are players that all are young, that have sell-on abilities at this point. If Manchester United wanted to sell them, they could, and they can get a very good price tag for them. Matheus Cunha, I don't think will have that, given the fact that he will maybe play a number of years at Manchester United that will see him kind of see through the best parts of his football. So I don't think it's in line with Ineos' strategy. But why should... I'm really disappointed with Manchester United, can I say, if there are players like Matheus Cunha on the market, Brian Mbuemo, players that Prem-proven, decent price tag that would immediately increase your ceiling or your potential in your front line. And Man United don't look to sign them because of, they're not young enough. That sounds crazy. That actually sounds a bit weird. But that sounds crazy. 60 million comes with big expectations, 100%. I don't even think it's just 60 million. I don't think it's just 60 million. I think any price tag at Manchester United comes with big expectations. Look at Joshua Xerxes. He came in for a relatively reasonable price tag, and it come and because he's wearing a Manchester United shirt and he's a striker and he's wearing a number 11 shirt. The number on the back plays a big factor of it. The badge on the front plays a big factor on it. The expectations are high. Especially, I said this the other day on the Straight Jacket podcast. No player in Manchester United starting 11, bar the striker, or outside of the striker, they all get the luxury of patience. I did a video on this, a short video on TikTok on this, I think back in October. Strikers at Manchester United do not get the luxury of patience, if you want to say that. You look at historically what Man United have had as strikers. If you were lucky like me to see York, Cole, Sheringham, Ollie, then go on to see Rude, get to see, you know, he's not really a striker, but CR7, you know, got to see players like Wayne Rooney. I got to see players like Tevez, like Berbatov, like RVP, you know, players, Chicharito even, amazing strikers. You know, not every striker at Manchester United, I think, will be of that level because those were just amazing players. But over the last 10 years, let's actually talk about what strikers have come into Manchester United and really scratch the surface of making a difference. I would probably say maybe Lukaku was all right. I mean, he came in with a big price tag, so again, big expectations. Ibrahimovic was free. CR7, I can't name any other strikers, really. I can't. I think Lukaku was the last striker that United signed around the age of 24 and 26. He was around that age. I would prefer Mateta and David over Delap and Cunha. Alan Smith did okay. I just remember, every time I think of Alan Smith, I just remember when he broke his leg. Yeah, but Cavani, there you go. Cavani, CR7, Lukaku, Zlatan. Those are ready-made players. Ready-made players. Let's just dissect this here quickly for a second. From TV, Phil says, I prefer Mateta and Jonathan David, over Delap and Cunha. This is the thing. What makes you, can I ask, believe in them two over there? I think Mateta's a good striker, so Mateta I'm not going to really argue too tough. I won't argue Mateta too tough because I think he's a good striker. He's good. Jonathan David, I think I'm skeptical of sometimes. And the reason why I'm skeptical of Jonathan David sometimes is because how are you on the transfer market every summer and nobody wants you? I know it's a stupid logic, but I've watched Lille quite a bit. I watched them this season. I watched them last season. I only watched them really because I like Angel Gomez. Jonathan David is a okay striker, but I don't think he will. The reason what puts Delap and Cunha ahead of him is the Premier League. The Premier League, that is what kind of puts them at a level above. Jonathan David, the only way that Jonathan David is a better option is because he's free. So Man United won't have to spend big. Whereas, you know, with Delap and Cunha, that's about 90 million combined, right? So that, to me, sounds like Jonathan David is a Glazer-esque signing, a striker. By the way, it's crazy to think he's like 25. He's like 25. So he's probably approaching his prime time football, but he hasn't done it outside of France. I remember I did a video with Sky Sports back in January, and I said that Jonathan David, we're looking at all the free agents, and that's when I made the comment about Kevin De Bruyne to Saudi, and people went crazy about it. But in that same video, I said Jonathan David to West Ham. Jonathan David would sell shirts in Canada. Would apparently probably. No disrespect to my Canadians. Shout out to my Canadians. I love you guys. You guys gave us Tim Hortons. Yeah, I can never hate you lot. But is that a big factor? Is that a big factor, selling shirts in Canada? I don't think Man United really have any big shirt sellers now. Maybe Bruno, I'd say, is a big shirt seller. But I don't care if a player is a shirt seller or not. That to me that's not really a big factor. Let me just pull this picture up. Why are people so anti-Delap Mina? This guy has the minerals. His dad is a Stoke legend. He wants... You know what, bro? I don't know. Like, I don't know why people turn up their nose at Liam Delap. Is he the best striker on the market? No. But let's not act like he's a bum. That's what I keep saying to people. Let's not act like he is a bum. For 30 million as well, whoever gets him is getting a steal. For like 30 million is a steal in this day and age, in this economy where we're entering a recession, yeah, where inflation is at an all-time high. 30 million for a striker of Liam Delap's quality is a steal. With saying that, for me, you guys know Victor Osimhen has always been my favorite. But it's not always about what the favorite is. For me, it's about what is likely to happen. Now, in an ideal world, if United were to sign maybe like Delap and Cunha, that's decent business. That's 90 million. However, double-digit goals. By the way, this is the logic that I hate, because I've seen this logic quite a bit. When eggs cost $15, Delap isn't a bad deal. Honestly, it's really not a bad deal. What I hate is this logic of, oh, Delap scored double-digit goals with Ipswich in the Premier League. They got relegated. In Rasmus Hojlund's season with Atalanta, he scored 9 goals. There's no difference between the two of them. This is how I know that opinions formed in that matter, in that way, in that package, is opinions based off of stats. Because there is no way you watch Liam Delap this season with Ipswich and think he is remotely near what Rasmus Hojlund was in his season at Atalanta before Manchester United brought him. There's no way. It's humanly impossible, because there is so much that Liam Delap excels in that Hojlund hasn't even scratched the surface in. And I don't want to do this pile on Hojlund, because at the end of the day, Liam Delap don't play for United. But I want people to be realistic with the quality of the players. I want people to be realistic. Don't turn your nose up at Liam Delap because it's a name that doesn't sound exotic. Oh, it's another Englishman. Yes, in an ideal world, a 21-year-old would not be Manchester United's prime striker target. If Manchester United could get Victor Osimhen or Gyökeres and get Liam Delap, I would be okay with that. It was reported, by the way, by the Telegraph that Victor Osimhen's name has previously been discussed as a more experienced option, but Liam Delap is currently emerging as the first choice for Manchester United. And it sounds like the choice behind Liam Delap is data-led. I think it's Wilcox-led. Wilcox is a fan of him. It's one for the future. But I can't help but also look at it in a way and say, Man United cannot buy solely another young striker and expect him to answer your problems. I think he's an upgrade on everything Man United have. But that's with saying that, the bar is in hell, because Man United have poor, mediocre talents in the front line. I would love for Man United to sign both 2 strikers. I would love that. The physical presence that he offers, can I say, is something that Hojlund has never even done. He's never even done that. I think Osimhen is unrealistic since they're trying to bring the wage bill down. They are, but I'm also with the wage thing. I'm like, if you want the best, you pay the best. Like, am I wrong to think in that way, guys? Like, for example, with Victor Osimhen, I've seen people talking about attitude. And I'm like, what attitude? He won Napoli their first title in God knows how long. Yeah? And then he was pushed out by the owners. And then he said, okay, cool. I don't know if you guys recall what happened with Victor Osimhen and the Napoli ownership and the directors, etc. the year after, a couple of months after they won the title, after the summer, etc. He had no intention to leave Napoli. He had I think a transfer, a clause reportedly of like 130 or 120 or something like that. It's only the season after that their relationship really started to break down, and they had to explore options for him to leave because the relationship was broken. But this idea of straight away, he's got attitude problems because is there a color thing? I'm joking. I'm not Sol Campbell, but seriously, there is a conscious bias there when you say that he's got an attitude problem. Let's be real with ourselves, yeah. Victor Osimhen could come to United, and I think he will bag you 20 goals in the league. I think he will do that because he is one of the best strikers. Like, the best striker for me in Europe right now is Alexander Isak. After that is probably, I would say, Lewandowski. United will never sign either of those two. But are you telling me if Manchester United had a chance to sign Alexander Isak, we should be okay with Manchester United saying, oh, his wage demands are too much. We're trying to lower the wage bill. No, you want the best, you pay the best. And maybe it's because historically, Man United used to pay very well to any bum. And they're trying to undo that trauma. They're trying to undo all of that. But let's be realistic, guys. You want the best, you pay for the best. I'm not saying throw 300 bags a week at Victor Osimhen, but let's not act like we're signing a potential come-up player. We're not. We're playing we would be signing a very good player. And that's what. Can I just ask you guys a question? Can I ask a question? Yeah, just out of curiosity, because I hate this conversation about wage. Because firstly, none of us are paying the money out of our pocket, so why are we pocket watching? But again, as fans, we've been what's the word? We've been wired of recent to be invested in things such like this, right? That's just how it is. When Jared Branthwaite last summer was refusing to sign a new Everton contract because he had reportedly agreed terms with Manchester United, why was no one calling him money hungry? Let me just ask you guys that question. Just an honest question. Because I remember vividly, he was refusing to sign a new contract with Everton. Just before the transfer window started, he had reportedly agreed personal terms with Manchester United. And then he had to walk back to Everton with his tail between his legs when Manchester United and Everton couldn't agree a fee. And I don't know if he's signed that contract yet, but no one was calling him money hungry. It's not because he plays for Everton. It's unconscious bias. Let's be real. But hey, let's not talk about that, because I want to talk about football. If we want to talk about unconscious bias, we could be here for another hour. But like I said, you want the best, you pay for the best. And we might come back and look at this in the future when it could bite us. It could bite United in the arse. It could bite United in the arse in terms of not paying for Victor Osimhen. But please, look at this. Again, for the people that like to go off of data, Delap can lead attacks by himself with powerful runs forward. These are all forward carries of 20 plus yards in the Premier League for Delap. Look at this. I've seen it, by the way, guys, I think, with my own eyes. I've seen him do this against United with my own eyes. I've seen him suck Delap out. Pause. What the fuck? I've seen him pull Delap out into a deeper zone, and then allow, I think it was Amari Hutchinson. And you know what? It's so crazy, guys. I want to go and find the video that I talk about this. Just bear with me 1 second. When did we play Ipswich? About 4 or 5 months ago. It was when what's his name got sacked. Here it is. It was what's his name's first game. Did I have a screenshot somewhere in here? No, I didn't. Oh, I think I might have. Guys, literally, this is on my video. I'm not even joking, guys. This is literally a video of mine from 4 months ago, 1-1 against Ipswich. This is him. Oh, shit. Why did I just do that? Sorry, guys. There you go. We back. Don't look at my recommended, guys. My recommended on the side is all over the place. So don't look at my recommended. But this is, and in this point, I think I was talking about what Liam did. Look, that's me, guys. That's me. My setup looks a bit different now, but that's me. Yeah. Liam Delap, in this particular phase, dropped off of Delap here and pulled him out over here. Opened up this space here. The runner didn't run in behind, but again, he was able to drive forward with that ball. And that's what I was talking about in that particular passage. I have never seen Rasmus Hojlund do that for Manchester United. So that's why I don't understand how this argument about him being similar to Hojlund it comes from. I just genuinely don't understand. 2 hours. You got me. I was watching that for like 2 hours yesterday. I love. How did you even? Oh, you did see it. Okay, look, you see, here's a lot of my recommended. Why is R. Kelly in my recommended? What the hell? Yeah, 2 hours inside Heathrow's busiest airport. I enjoyed doing that. Look, this is like, again, Somali song. SDS. Oh, Snow Allegra's Tiny Desk concert. One of my favorite Tiny Desk concerts. This is a lot of my own shit coming up here. Yeah, a lot of traditional Somali songs. These are people that I've never watched before coming up there. Honestly. Anyways, United View all the way at the bottom. But yeah, I do love a good inside Britain's busiest airports. It's my kind of entertainment, guys. It's my kind of entertainment. I've seen that video where the guy loses his passport in the Heathrow airport toilet. No, I didn't see that. I saw the one where I like when they're like less arresting people in the airports. Is my favorite kind of stuff to watch, because I always think, ooh, what would I do in that position if that was me? But I'm not a criminal, so inshallah that never happens to me. But yeah, I love watching those kind of stuff, man. Nothing to declare. Those kind of shows, right up my street. Right, I got caught like a rat on the highway. If we were smart, we would get Delap and Mateta for 60 to 65 million. That would give Delap enough time to develop. I think the general consensus is for United to get 2 strikers. But like I said earlier at the beginning, I think a lot of what Man United do in terms of that second striker that they potentially sign depends on what happens with Rasmus Hojlund. If there is legit interest in the Serie A for him, and I'm not talking about, you know, oh, we want him on loan. I'm talking like the whole Garnacho in the January window thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about legit concrete interest that will lead to potentially him leaving. I think that is a key factor to whether Manchester United sign 2 strikers or not. Is Simon Jones reliable? He tends to be. Well, I think the only person, there's not many reliable quotation marks. I think a lot of them just like to get news out from their sources. And I always trust that they have sources. I always think that's right. And I've just seen what you're referencing, Ridwan. So I'm actually going to bring that up on screen. None other than Jadon Mandela. Shout out to Jadon Mandela, a.k.a. Mandela Sancho. Simon Jones from the Mail Sport reporting that Jadon Sancho looks likely to return to Manchester United in the summer. I mean, that's 5 million in the pocket in that case. But how humiliating is that? That is embarrassing. And you know what's sad, by the way, guys? We're going to have to listen or watch debates across the summer, especially when the content is dying, is transfer season. Should Sancho get a chance in Amarim's system? That is going to be like a conversation on YouTube, on Twitter, on everywhere, on TikTok, wherever you watch content on. That is going to be a conversation. And that's not a conversation I'm going to have at all on this channel, because I've already, you guys know where I stand on the Jadon Sancho thing. I feel sorry for him, but also I don't think United is the environment for him, and I don't think United can benefit from him. I'd low-key give him a chance. I've seen enough of him at Chelsea. I feel like we are holding on, and when I say we, as football fans, like football fans are holding on to what he was how many years ago. When did he join Man United? Hold on. Because if it's when I think it was. Okay, no, he joined. I thought he joined Man United pre-pandemic. I was going to say, like, he was a COVID baby. But he wasn't. He kind of was, but he wasn't really. But life after the pandemic is when he joined. A lot has happened since then. Like, eggs cost $12 in America right now. Do you know? A lot has... Since Jadon Sancho has joined Manchester United, guys, what has happened? Maradona has died. Sorry to start off in such a bad way. The Black Panther actor, he didn't die. He died before Jadon Sancho. I'm not trying to link Jadon Sancho to these deaths, by the way, in case that's what you guys are wondering. But I'm trying to think of things that happen. Like, a lot of stuff has happened, and I also think, that we should accept that we shouldn't hold on to what a player once was. We need to take the person at face value. Like, it's like being in a relationship. You lot know I love a stupid analogy that makes no sense. But it's like, you know, being in a relationship and you just keep accepting being treated like trash because you think he was really good or she was really nice to her previous partner. So you're going to get an experience like that soon. No, what the hell? No, you take what the person's giving you at face value. Like, come on, man, know your worth. We need to know our worth, guys. We need to know our worth. We don't cost much, literally and figuratively, but we need to know our worth all the way from the bottom of the table. Because if we let this thing with Jadon Sancho continue, then do you think Luke Shaw's ever gonna leave Manchester United? He's probably looking at Jadon Sancho and getting motivation. He's probably looking at Jadon Sancho thinking, wow, you're on $350 a week. and you've only been here for X number of years. I've been here longer than you. I need to find a way to get that much money too. Nah. Do you know Umar Kamara? There's so many Kamaras, I can't even keep up to date, man. No disrespect. Kamara is a very common name. I think it's for like people from Mali or Senegal. Which one are you talking about? Because there's quite a few. Are you talking about the little kid? The little kid in AFCON right now? That sounds crazy. Sorry, excuse me. But are you talking about the young kid? I don't know where he plays. I think he plays somewhere. I think he's the kid that United were linked to or something. Yeah, the one. Yeah. I don't know much about him, but I know of him, but I don't know much about him. But I was tweeting it earlier today, and I've been saying it on the stream a lot, guys. You know, I'm sure a lot of you lot watched the PSG game yesterday, and United were linked to Desiree Doué in the summer. Man United need to start shopping in the French league, honestly. And they should start by signing Lamine Kamara. No bias there. You're going to watch the Under-20 World Cup? Maybe. It's around, I think it might be around the same time. Oh, no, it's not. It's way after. Yeah, so I will watch it. It's all the way in September. Yeah, I'll watch it. Where is it happening? Where is it happening this year? Because that's a big factor for me. Ooh, it's happening in Chile. It's happening in Chile. Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. If you hear Kamara, assume good things. That surname means baller. Yeah, I know, because there's a lot of players with the name Kamara spelt with a K and a C that are pretty decent. They are pretty decent. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is news coming out from Italy. You're gonna make time to watch the Unity Cup, aka Diaspora World Cup. You know what? I'm just mad that my country's not in it. But equally with saying that, you know, we don't have as much professional players as those nations do. So London, if you are in London for that week, guys, wow, that's like the ethnic World Cup. That's like the ethnic World Cup. You're telling me you got Jamaica, Ghana, and Nigeria playing in one little cup thing. That's crazy. That's like 60% of the ethnic population in the UK. They hail from one of those countries. But I'll watch it. I don't know if I'm going to go to it, but I'll definitely watch it. And also, it's in Brentford Stadium as well. I think it's in the G-Tech Stadium. So if I can get the opportunity to like do content or present or do commentary or something like that, I'll do it. But if I'm not getting paid for it, then I wouldn't go to it. I've got bills to pay, guys. It's inflation. We're living in inflation and recession and $12 eggs, you know? I'm there. That's basically KG versus Joe Blackman. Basically. Literally. That's KG versus Joe Blackman. Or KG and Flex versus Joe Blackman. Minna, if you want to stay up front, Lazio game is starting at 5:45. We could potentially meet them in the final. I wanted to watch the Lazio game. So I will actually watch that because I know Chelsea's on at the same time, but who the hell wants to watch that? And Lazio have a pretty decent team as well. But just quickly, just going to touch on this quickly, and then we're going to talk about the Lyon game. Manchester United have reportedly made contact with Brighton for their 22-year-old goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen. I love this player for Manchester United. If Man United can sign him for a reasonable fee, because you know Brighton are not like going to make it easy for Man United. They're going to hold out for like 80 million at the least. I'm surprised Chelsea's not trying to sign him after signing Sanchez from there. But they are going to hold out for a big fee. But the idea of him is great. I can't argue it. I genuinely can't argue it. And let's talk about, I know we've all forgotten, by the way, about what's happening in a couple of hours. Manchester United will take on Lyon. And I feel like people are disrespecting Lyon a bit. I by the way, I have props for Manchester United. I'll back my team till the mountains sing. Is that the saying? I don't know. But I'll back my team. But people are acting like Lyon are scrubs or they've got a bunch of bummy players. Now, of course, they've got a very aging Matic. But they've got Tolisso, who's decent. I mean, no one's talking about Mikatadze up front. Everyone's talking about Lacazette. And this is why I say, guys, watch football outside the Prem, please. Watch football outside the Prem, yeah? Ryan Cherki, of course, is the biggest conversation. People are, like I said, talking about Lacazette. He has not been starting up front for Lyon the last couple of games. Mkhitaryan is equally a problem player. And if you guys watched Georgia in the Euros, you'll probably remember him. Was it? Yeah, I think it was the Euros, or was it the World Cup? It was Euros, if I'm not wrong. And then, because he went to Lyon, but before he was at Lyon, he was somewhere else. But just quickly, Ryan Cherki will be a problem for Manchester United. Ryan Cherki will be a problem. I like the idea of him. He was at Metz. Yeah, he was at Metz. There you go. He got a move from like some random Turkish club, I think it was. I like the idea of Ryan Cherki. And this is why I think, as football fans, of recent, we've become so programmed to be thinking like Pep Guardiola. When have we ever turned our noses up as a technical player that can create chances, is exciting to watch? Like, since when has that become normal to basically reject the idea of, just because, oh, he doesn't track back. I watched Doué, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia yesterday for PSG, and those are the kind of players that you want at Manchester United, because they are exciting. I'm not saying they'll ever come to Man United, by the way, but that football is about exciting football. It's because he's addicted to shawarmas, Vida. Have you not seen the rumors? Bring him to Manchester United. I'll show him a good shawarma place. There's a lot of good shawarma places in the UK, man. Come on. Let's not do that. This is the Manchester United of today. The fans have destroyed the club with their small club mentality. I don't even think it's the fans. I feel like, as football fans, over the last, it's the Pep Guardiola-ization of football. We've been programmed to believe that, flair and excitement and Joga Bonita and skillful and tech and all of this stuff is bad if you can't play in the system. Minnie, you're acting like those guys in France don't run. In the Prem, wingers don't run back unless they are top tier. That's true. And the Prem and the French system is different. It is different. I would definitely give that. But I've seen, again, this is just discourse I'm seeing online. So it's not things that people have said to my face, but people saying, nah, Cherki, he's crap. His work rate sucks. What? Why are we signing from Lyon? They're about to get relegated. They're about to get relegated for financial mishaps, not because they're bottom of the league. But don't worry, tonight, guys, I think Man United need to hold for a draw. Like, if United can win, amazing. But don't lose. That's it. That's, I think, that should be the conversation in the dressing room from Ruben Amorim. I don't care if you guys win, just don't lose. And at least take the result back to Old Trafford for the second leg, because this is season or bust. Like, this is Man United's biggest game of the season. Like, if I'm totally being honest, this is United's biggest game of the season, because I don't want Man United to be in Champions League football next season, because I don't want to be embarrassed. However, with saying that, I know how monumental it is for Manchester United in the summer transfer window and financially to be in Champions League football. So let's do it. We're gonna do this. But keep an eye out for Ryan Cherki, guys. Keep an eye out for Ryan Cherki, and also keep an eye out for their centre back pairing. Keep an eye out for their centre back pairing. I don't know if you guys know, is their manager Fonseca, is he allowed to coach from the sideline because it's Europa League game? Because I know he got a 9-month ban in the French league, so I don't know if that is also is FIFA or it's just the French association, that gave him that ban. I think he's allowed. Who gets the UCL final? Let's talk about this, because I did a video about this last night about the games. I didn't get the chance to do. His name's Fonseca, no? Oh, Fonseca. Hey! You know I got you know I got a speech problem, man. Come on, you're taking the piss out of someone that got a speech problem. Like, English ain't even my first language. But just quickly on Champions League, I didn't get to speak about the Arsenal game because I was traveling that night. I said Arsenal could beat Real Madrid, and I think people thought I was crazy. Real Madrid, if you've watched them this season across La Liga, if you've watched them across the Champions League, Real Madrid have not been good. Bellingham, I don't know how people watch Pedri and say Bellingham is better. Bellingham has more PR around him, and I think Bellingham is a great player, and it's great for him to be English because, you know, he helps the England team. But let's not disrespect Pedri and act like Bellingham is in a class above his own. They're age mates, not literally, but in terms of quality, talent. And Pedri's actually doing it consistently this season. He's been doing. If you've watched Barcelona this season, and you guys will know, by the way, that I do reactions to Barcelona quite, like, if I can, at the best, if I'm able to. Pedri has been outside of stats, he's been one of Barca's best players, right? Respect to Arsenal for beating Real Madrid like that, because the way that they beat Real Madrid, it's not even the fact that they beat them 3-0 for me. It's the fact that it should have been more. If it wasn't for that dusty Courtois in goal, it should have been more. You know, we could have seen in front of our eyes Real Madrid humiliated by a team that has never won a Champions League. I mean, I don't think that happens often. I really don't think so. And with saying that, I also believe that Arsenal will go and beat them at the Bernabeu. I think Arsenal will go and beat them at the Bernabeu. Everyone's saying, oh, it's the Santiago Bernabeu. Now, how are they going to be able to win? Oh, Real Madrid, this is their competition. This is, you know, this is their, what's it called? Arsenal and Barca are nowhere near each other, yeah? They're not anywhere near each other this season. But Barcelona crip walked all over Real Madrid at the Bernabeu this season. And with saying that, the way that Real Madrid have been playing at home this season, and let's like talk. If we quickly look at their record this season in terms of whether it's in the league, they haven't been hammering people. They have not been hammering people away at home. Sorry, at the Bernabeu. Of course, it's always gonna hold some weight. It's, you know, the game against Sociedad, by the way, that was at the Bernabeu. They lost to Valencia. Then they came into the Arsenal game having lost to Valencia at home. They lost to Arsenal away. They go away now to Deportivo Alavaz or something like that. And then they welcome Arsenal. It's very possible that they could lose 3 games in a row coming into that game at the Bernabeu. But who gets the UCL final for me? I need to see PSG versus Barca. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans. I'm not actually, but I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, but I'm not. I need to see PSG versus Barca because for me, that is 2 of the most exciting teams to watch in the Champions League this season going up against each other. That is a front 3 of Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal, who for me is the best player in the world, or near enough the best player. We can argue it. It's really debatable. They've scored how many goals? I've lost track. Lewandowski has scored 40 goals in all comps. Then on the other side, you've got Dembele, Doué/Barcola, and Kvaratskhelia. You got a midfield battle of what? Pedri versus Vitinha, who I think Vitinha is on that level of top 5 midfielders in Europe this season. You have a battle for me across each part of the starting 11 on both sides. How could you not want to watch that? I'm seeing people saying, no, it's going to be Barca versus Arsenal. Absolutely. I do think I want to watch Mikel Merino against Barcelona's high line. No, thank you. I don't want to watch that. I do not want to watch that. But I also think it'll be interesting to see if Arsenal get through and PSG get through. I'm interested to see how that turns out because I watched Arsenal versus PSG earlier in the Champions League and Arsenal cruised past them. But with saying that, PSG have picked up form at the best time, and it's been since post-Christmas. You know, perfect. I just want to see the best young players versus the best academy ever. There you go. You just want to see the best versus the best. And I feel like it's been a long time since that has happened in the Champions League. Like, if you look at UCL final fixtures, like, when was the last time we've seen two exciting teams come up against each other in a Champions League? Like, let's look at the final list. Here's the final list of... Oh, shit, I'm not even sharing. Here's the final list of the last number of years, guys. Please. Well, like, come on. What is this? What is this? Even I remember, shout out to PlayStation. I love you guys so much because you guys took me to the Champions League between Dortmund and Real Madrid at Wembley last season. But it was not an exciting game. It was not an exciting game. And I think both goals came from a minor error from Dortmund. But look at that. Man City's Inter, that was snooze. Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Chelsea versus Man City. Oh my God. The Bayern Munich versus PSG one. Liverpool versus Tottenham. Are you taking the piss? How could you not want to watch PSG versus Barcelona? Looking at this track record of, games. I think it's been maybe since Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Maybe that was the last time I've enjoyed a Champions League final between both teams. And that's going, and that, you see, historically, all the games had to have Real Madrid for it to be exciting. So for that reason, I want to see PSG versus Barca. But with saying that, yeah, sometimes people love an underdog. They do love an underdog. I don't. F that. Give me the best teams. Give me the best teams. With saying that, though, let's not overlook Inter. Because I said this back when the draws happened back in like end of Jan or something. And I saw the side that Barcelona were on. I said, if Barcelona get past Benfica and they get past Dortmund, which they should be able to, I think that they would prefer to meet Bayern Munich than Inter, because Inter are not a team to F about with, defensively and in that front line. By the way, shout out to Inzaghi, because he's bringing back two-man strikers. He's bringing it back. Bayern are beating Inter, Mina. Bookmark this. I don't know. We'll come back to this next week, but I don't know if they can beat them. Do they have the minerals to? I feel like also they're missing a lot of creativity because of Musiala being out. Their backline for me physically cannot match up with Lautaro and Thuram. They can't. With saying that, what's their name? I'm missing DeMarco, who for me is one of the best left backs in Europe this season. Inter Milan. So for me, Inter, I think, are favourites to push through on that leg. And that Barca, the reason why I'm saying Barca would struggle against Inter than Bayern, because Barca have struggled to break down low block teams this season in La Liga in particular. They've done it, maybe walked away with a 1-0 lead just about, but it hasn't been the best of performances. Whereas teams like Benfica, teams like Dortmund, they're bullying them. They are bullying them. So for that reason, Inter versus Barca will be a great matchup if that happens in the semis. And Arsenal versus PSG, that's two potentially good games. I don't want to see Real Madrid. Is it crazy to say I don't want to see Real Madrid like go through? Because I love a good story, right? So how funny would it be if PSG get to the final of the Champions League? It'll be even greater if they knock out Real Madrid in the process. But how funny would it be that Real Madrid can't even get past Arsenal to play PSG? And I said this in my video last night. Go and watch it after the stream, guys. But I said, if Ousmane Dembele wins a Champions League for PSG, doing what Mbappe failed to do, you better tear down the Eiffel Tower and put up a statue of Dembele in Paris, because the city is his. The city is his. He, for me, is it blasphemous to say that he will exceed what Mbappe has done at PSG? I think so. But it's a lot of ifs. I'm saying a lot of ifs. Another if as well that I don't think people are talking about. When people talk about Ballon d'Or races, they're talking about Salah, they're talking about Dembele, they're talking about Rafinha. Barcelona potentially are on path to do a quadruple, guys. In Hansi Flick's first season, the same Hansi Flick that people said was never good enough to be a coach at Manchester United. Deep that, number one. Number two, if they win La Liga, which I actually think they will, I think the second to last game as well is against Real Madrid. So I think they will win. They got the Copa del Rey final against Real Madrid, and they've still got a decent run in the Champions League. So if they win 4 trophies in Hansi Flick's first season, Lamine Yamal would have won the Euros and then done a quadruple with his club in the space of 12 months. Just deep that, guys. Deep that I wanted Hansi Flick. I remember Saeed was talking about Flick for so long, so long. Might have to cop the Jao Neves shirt, Mina. I know. If you lot remember, by the way, if you were here on the channel last summer, I was. I don't want to say I was twerking for Jao Neves because that's crazy, but I wanted Jao Neves at United, and I said United. If United signing Ugarte meant Jao Neves went to PSG, I said United should not sign Ugarte. I don't care how much Ineos want Ugarte. I don't care how much he will fix whatever problem United have in midfield. Do not fund the transfer for Jao Neves to PSG. Don't do it. And I remember people saying he's not worth it. I don't know if you guys remember the conversations about Jao Neves. Do you remember? People were saying he's not strong enough. You don't need to be strong when people can't get the ball off you. And by the way, forget not being strong enough. The guy was winning every single duel, I remember, against Liverpool and against City. And again, yesterday in the Villa game, it's only when I think Amadou Onana came on that Amadou Onana was moving like a truck in the middle. But again, people just turn up their noses at players because, oh, he doesn't fit the system. They called him Ander Herrera as if that's an insult. That is an insult because he's way better than Ander Herrera. Shout out to Ander Herrera, but he's way better than Ander Herrera in my opinion. Give the kid a Ballon d'Or ASAP. You know, I don't think people realize how absurd it is how good Lamine Yamal is at the age of 17. Like, I don't really when I see what Lamine Yamal is doing at the age of 17, I look at my nephew and I just sigh. Like, it's just, I look at my nephew and I say, look at your age mates. I become the auntie that you hated growing up. You know, when the aunties you got an auntie that's always saying, look at your age mates, look what they're doing. And one of my aunties used to say this to me all the time, like, oh, look at your age mates, they're doing XYZ and you're just at home playing PlayStation or you're going to play football. I've now become that auntie. I'm saying to my nephew, he asked me to buy him a Barcelona shirt. Yeah, shout out to my nephew. He asked me to buy him a Barcelona shirt. I said to him, do you want a name on the back? He said, no, I want a plain one. I said, you don't want a name? He was like, oh, no. I said, you don't want Lamine Yamal? And he was like, nah. I said, he's 17, you know. Look how old you are. Age mates. Shout out to my nephew. But again, like I said, I don't think people are deep in what Lamine Yamal is doing at the age of 17. It's stupid. Minna becoming the auntie she never liked. You know them ones where you live long enough to become the villain? No, honestly, I will never become that auntie because those aunties traumatized me, man. I hated them. I honestly hated them. I don't even... Now as an adult, I walk past them in the street because I remember all the shit you used to say to me when I was younger that made me very self-conscious. I could never be that kind of auntie. But my nephew knows I'm joking with him. He can't kick a ball. He's not really into football. He's a United fan by default, but he likes to play FC 25. That's about it. You know, that's most kids of this generation. I feel like the kids of this generation don't like football. They like to play it, but like on the PlayStation, but they don't really like to play it in real life. I don't know, but shout out to Lamine Yamal. Shout out to my nephew, man. Anyways, people are not deep in it. Lamine Yamal will be in the conversations for Ballon d'Or. I think Rafinha will run away with it if he wins the Champions League and they win La Liga. But it's at this point, it's just a lot of ifs. You lot know, if you were here last summer on the channel, you'll remember the dog barking outside. You know it's summertime or it's becoming warm in the UK when my neighbours have their dogs outside in the garden. Because what is this non-stop woofing? What's it called? I just said woofing. What's it actually called what dogs make? Woofing. Woof woof. Barking. There's non-stop barking outside. My nephew plays for Fulham. Shout out to your nephew. What if Lewandowski scores in the final? Does it go? He did get robbed. He did get robbed of a Ballon d'Or. So I don't know if they need to make things right. English as a last language for sure. You guys can never shame me, guys. English ain't my first language. When I say stuff in my head, English words, or I'm trying to figure out what an English word is, I say it in multiple other languages before I say it in English. So you lot can't shame me for that. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I'm not even going to do predictions for the Lyon game. Honestly, I'm not even going to do it. Like I said, just don't lose. It's as simple as that. The bar is in hell at this point. But what we got coming on the channel tomorrow, inshallah, we'll have Daily Dose of Minute again, normal time. Got a video dropping tomorrow earlier in the day, I think at like 12 o'clock. So make sure you guys check that out. Turn on your post notifications. So every time I upload a video, you lot get notified. Because I wasn't posting much during Ramadan, YouTube algorithm has neglected me a little bit. So make sure you guys turn on your post notifications. So every time I'm going live and every time I upload, you get notified. Got a match reaction straight after the game as well. So make sure you guys check that out. And if you're going to sleep straight after the game, just go and click the video. Let it play in the background while you're going to sleep, and remember to hit the like button as well. But come on, United, man, that's really it. That's really it. Is there anything? Let me see if there's any other news that we've missed. I don't think so. I think we're good. Make sure you hit a like on the way out. You guys know what it is. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, come on, Man United. Yeah, I'm out, guys. Peace.